Well, I've been editing the wedding photography I did last time in Touch for my client. La. They came all the way from US. La. So now I'm editing their pics and I have to send them. La. This is my recent project. La. Well, their family member hired me 4 months before the event. And yeah, and we did this last week. La. And then I don't know how they came to know me, but they contacted me through Facebook. La. And that's how I got them. La. I will work on the station for quite a late hours. La. During the morning hours, I go for a shoot on the field, and when I get back home, I end up staying up to 4 5 a.m. in the morning. La. And sometimes my sleeping times are quite bad la, for now. This happens during the project time, la, when I have to submit the pictures on time la, to meet the deadlines and all. That time I have to rush my editing. I have to spend quite a lot of time going through the pictures, each and every pictures.
All right, hello there and a very warm welcome to Generation Me. I'm Tshering Wangchuk, and in today's edition of the program, I will talk to a freelance photographer. He is Tshering Wangchuk, and he has been working as a freelance for a couple of years. Well, we will talk about photography and try to find out more about photography with Tshering Wangchuk. All right, Tshering, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us more about you.
I did my degree in Bachelor of Science Multimedia and Technology from Calcutta, Brainwave Institute. And now it's been almost 3 years I've been freelancing.
Right after you completed your studies, did you try to join any organization, or did you try to find a job, or you directly got into photography?
Well, I directly got into photography because I had some basic idea during my, vacations during my college time. I used to be here in Thimphu, and by then I used to do a little bit kind of photography things. I don't used to earn much, but I used to earn a few amount, but that was making me happy. Then after getting back to college, then I was having some positive vibe that I want to take photography as my career after my degree. Then I was going deep, I was learning more, and it all matters with our interest. Then once I was back from college, then I started to promote myself. I did quite a free work for other people, like clients, some tour operators. And from there I started to be more positive.
Well, tell me more about positive vibe. How did it all happen?
This all happened when I got a call from one client, and he wanted me to take a photo of the event. And then I didn't know how to fix the rate. I tried to find out the local rate, but the rate was quite okay. Then I just quoted my price. Then that made me happy. Then I was like, okay, so I'll do that. Then I did that event, and from there, then I was like feeling more good.
All right, Tshering, you studied multimedia, right?
Yes, the multimedia.
So I'm sure you had a lot of other options, but why photography?
Well, I had a interest before, but I was not so much into DSLRs. By then I used to use a digital camera. And then after I studied the basic photography which was included in my course, then I found it quite interesting. And then I have my uncle who is a wildlife photographer here in Thimphu.
Okay.
Then he had a DSLR camera and he sent me for servicing to Calcutta. From there I was using his camera because the camera was with me for a month. From there, once I started using that DSLR, then I was so much into it. And then the moment I decided to buy a DSLR, I bought the same model that my uncle had.
Okay.
Then from there, then it became more deep.
Tshering, that sounds really interesting. Anyway, tell me more about the first camera you used, the one you talked about.
Yes. The first camera I used was Nikon D7000. But still I'm using this one only. Because camera equipments are very expensive. And especially for us, right now, I'm still saving money to upgrade my camera. But I don't think camera matters. Because it's how we present. It doesn't matter how expensive or how cheap the camera is. But in a very professional way, it matters camera. I shouldn't say that it doesn't matter. It do matters. But for right now, for us, and even we all know the difference between the very expensive camera and the very cheap camera right now. But only if you are very much into photography, I mean like very big industry, photography industry world, then I think we need a very good camera. But for right now, I think the camera won't matter.
All right. Anyway, Kile, how would you define photography?
I define photography as capturing the moment. Well, I've seen that quote, but I believe in that quote, capturing the moment. Because like photography can capture every moment. And like if we are capturing a event such as a wedding and all, we can get the emotions. And once we give back the pictures to them, after the wedding, it's just a memory. So then after we going through the photographs, then we can like get the emotions and we can recollect everything.
That's really beautiful. I mean, capturing moment. All right. So, what are some of the few important things, especially that the beginner should know about photography?
The main thing we should know about photography is composition, how to compose, how to frame, and the rest it depends on how we edit and all. But I don't know how other photographers. But me, being honest, I shoot on the field and I do processing at home. I use Adobe Photoshop. I do that and I click in RAW. And then I do the editings. And it all depends on how we edit, how we give the contrast, brightness, saturation, everything. But most of important thing is the composition and the framing we do on the field.
Maybe Kile, if you could explain or talk more about composition and framing you just talked about briefly.
I mostly try to use the rule of third. I'm not so confident to teach or tell how it is. But we can always Google or YouTube nowadays. I've been doing that also. I still do it. I'm still not a perfect one. I'm still learning so hard. So there's a rule of third. It's just an idea that I'm sharing right now. You can explore more on the net. It's quite an interesting one, the rule of third. I'll just briefly share what this rule of third. It's just that we should never keep our subject in the middle. We should always try to keep it and use all the foreground and all. It's just how I take it. But the real definition is there in the Google and all. So I would like to suggest them to go and check it out, how it is.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I think that's what many people do, especially with Google and YouTube. I think these are some of the very, powerful tools, I guess. All right, so Kile, do we need to take, a formal class or a training to become a photographer?
Well, now I think we have to become a photographer, but not, years of course, but just a basic course, because there are so many rules in photography we need to know, and there are so many technical terms for that. But I believe we know that from internet and all. But still, then if you have some basic classes and all, I think that would be a plus point for us.
So what about you during your college days? I'm sure you already learned the basics during your college.
Yes, I did. But what I regret now is that I was not so much into theories. But now when I'm in the field, I find that theories are more important. Theories are, it's very important because now I realize, because back then I didn't take theory so much seriously. I was always into practical classes and all. But now I think theory are very important.
You know what, Kile, these days many young people, I think they are so much into photography, especially with, digital camera and smartphones. Young people are so much into photography, as we see on social media, social networking sites, be it Facebook or Instagram, I think they take a lot of photographs. It has become a trend now. So what do you feel about this trend?
Well, it's a good thing, because everyone's getting into photography, but they're not doing as not a commercial business or something like that, but it shows the interest, and they try to blog some are doing just a food photography, food bloggers, some are fashion bloggers. This inspires us more, because when they can do with it's they didn't do any courses or anything, but they're still good at it. So that's what that inspires us more, and we like to learn more and go more.
Anyway, Kili, can anyone take photography as a hobby?
Yes, la, anyone can do that. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who's having a hobby as their photography. La.
What do you feel about taking photography as a hobby?
If you are serious in our hobby as a photographer, I think it's an expensive hobby. La. Because the gadgets are very expensive, photography. La. I mean, like the camera, everything, la, especially lenses. It's very expensive. La. So I think it's an expensive hobby. La. But a good hobby too. La. But doesn't mean that if you are having a hobby with photography, you have to go with DSLRs and all. But I know there's a cheap, I mean, the phones, the smartphones and all. But for a person like me, I find it expensive. La.
It's a good hobby, but it's got an expensive hobby.
Yes.
Let's talk more about cheap camera, using cheap cameras or smartphones.
Yes.
What do you feel about it?
Well, as I mentioned, la, it doesn't matter how expensive or cheap, la, but unless we have our heart in it, a passion for it, it works, la, everything. Right now, I'm not using a very expensive camera, but still my photo that I shoot from my cameras are in industrials and floating around internet and all. We have our own styles of shooting, so we can even break the rules of photography and go on.
Break the rules. Tell me more about it.
I mean, breaking the rules like rule of third, the composition rules. And nowadays, I mean, the filters, we don't have to edit anything. That makes everything beautiful, the filters. The free filters we get in our phones and anywhere, the applications. It just makes our photo look so amazing, so we can... I would never suggest not to use filters, but I mean, like, I still use filters, when I take photos from my phone, especially for my Instagram, I use filter, but still I get a good number of likes and comments, and I have a good number of followers.
Sounds interesting. All right. Do you also blog, or do you have a page on Facebook?
Well, yes, I had my page on Facebook. It's known as Truklens. I've been not active there for quite a long now, because I'm switched into Instagram now. So I've been blogging in Instagram, and now I think I'm getting a good number of followers, and I follow good photographers, and we exchange our ideas, and I've got a good connections with international peoples through Instagrams. They correct me when I'm wrong, and I take their feedback as positive, and that makes me move more, and I get inspirations from the other good photographers, even our good local photographers, our senior photographers. I follow their pages, and that makes me go more.
All right. So, what advice would you like to give to someone who wants to become a photographer in future, especially the students, the young people who are dreaming to become a photographer?
Well, I won't take this as advice, but I would like to suggest them keep shooting with their heart, keep shooting always, and from there they'll know their difference going through previous picture and the latest picture they took and explore more in internet, try to follow good photographers, share ideas and question them and all, and I'm sure they can get a good idea, and I'm sure they will be inspired.
How can anyone make a living from photography, especially in our country?
Okay, I'll tell my experience. We can make a living in our country. From my experience, till now I've been earning, capturing the events such as birthday parties, weddings, promotions, and events such as the international events. Few international events that I did, and we can quote our price. But the very important thing is we should have a good networking, so that people can know us. First, we need to promote ourselves, We should never expect other people to call us, We should always go to them, I've been doing that, From there, then people come to know us and they start hiring us, or they start hiring us, And from there, we can quote our price. Well, I've been doing that, and I think it's a good money,
Anyway, Kili, as a freelance photographer, for how many organizations have you been working or are you working with?
I've been working with so many organizations. Recently, I've been working with Young Magazine, Shime Bhutan. It's a food photography Shime Bhutan. I've been working with a lot of tour operators for their promotional, for their websites. And I've been working with the hotels for their promotions, and a lot of other organizations and private organizations, yes.
All right, one last question before we wrap up. All right, so let's talk about some of the advantages of being a freelance photographer.
Well, the advantage of being a freelance photographer is we don't have to stick to 9 to 5 job. That's my personal view, because I don't like a 9 to 5 job. And we can get a chance to know with many other people. We get a good public relations. And the free food we get. And the most important part is it's fun, because our passion as a photography, we work, and at the same time we get what we deserve. I mean, we earn what we deserve doing that, and that makes me happy, because it doesn't mean that earning because I want to spend, because I earn to upgrade my gadgets, my camera and all. Once we get into the photography industry, I'm sure we need a lot of equipment. So that's why I'm still working hard, and I'm sure the youths the other friends can also do that, and it's quite a fun to do. I think you all should trust me on this. It's quite fun to be a photographer.
All right, Tshering Wangchuk, thank you so much for being on Generation Me.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that was a freelance photographer, Tshering Wangchuk, and thank you very much for listening. Well then, this is me, Tshering Wangchuk, signing off for Generation Me.